So here we've got a relatively simple build. It's going to be an DVM DMR node. All the parts for this build are available on Amazon, and we'll put links to those in the description. So first off, we're going to be starting here with the box. It comes with a few spare parts. And then you've got the lower shell. And of course the upper shell. Pop those aside for a second. In the next package then we have the radio receiver and transmitter. And it has a little OLED screen and an antenna socket. And handy enough, the antenna comes with the kit. And then next we have the brains of the operation. This one is the Pi 0 with header. So you see on the radio board you have your connections to your Pi 0. And on the Pi 0 board, usually the header is missing. So in the pack, you can see here, they've given us spare parts. So we won't be using these ones today, but you can see they replace the header. And then they fit on the radio hat. Like so. So you would need to solder them into the board. But in our case, our header and our pins are already in place. So it's pretty straightforward, guys, as you see. You have the Pi 0. And you place him into the shell with the micro USB hole looking out. Or sorry, the SSD. It's the SSD hole looking out. And obviously you need to access that to put your SSD in at a later stage when we're setting this one up to run on DMR. So we have a little bit out of shot there, but basically what we're doing, we're screwing on the header side. So we're screwing the smaller screws down into the clamshell. And once we have those in place, we can stick the hat onto the headers. So screw it down. Not too tight now. We don't need this to be too tight. You don't want to snap the board. One thing to check for, actually on the board, before you put the rest together, is that the little solder pins on the bottom of the head are not touching the bottom of the shell. You don't want these to be touching at all. So in some cases you might check them. They might be a little bit long. You need to snip them off. In our case, we look to be okay. So next up, we're going to sit down the radio hat. We just line them up with the headers and gently push forward. And they should eventually just slide on into place. Not too much pressure, but enough pressure just to lay them down flat. So we have them almost home now. And there we have it. So as you can see, the smaller screws on the other side, they only need to support the board for the back. And the hat is actually supported by the header itself. For the front of the unit, they give us these little standoff pins. They want to put the little plastic standoffs in between the two boards and then pop the screw in between. As you can see, a little bit fiddly, but we'll get there. And just screw these home. Again, not too tight. You don't need these too tight. You just need to hold the board in place and to be secure. If you overdo it, what'll end up happening is the little standoffs, this only little plastic piece, it'll squish in and the board will sit slightly diagonal. It won't be flush. And you'll find that your antenna is crooked. So that's it. I have the little Pi board and its hat in place. Just check all the pins. Make sure they're not touching. So you can see the little pins here. You want to make sure they don't touch. And if they do, just snip them off. No big deal. Again, we won't be using these ones. Now, the advantage is that when you do use those little blue ones, you don't have the middle headers here, so you don't need to worry about the hat touching off of the pins. But it is very important that those don't touch. And finally, I'm just going to pop the shell on the top. Now it's a press fit, so you have to kind of squeeze it a little bit. Put a little bit of pressure on each side until it lowers down into place. Now watch where your little USB ports are. You don't want to snap them or break them off. Just slightly lift and push over the top. As you can see, they will fit and they'll line up quite nicely. Then you have these little metal clips. Pop them into place. Give the unit and the box a squeeze. They should seal up quite nicely. Pop your little antenna on top. And that's it. You have your MMDV or Jumbo Hotspot or whatever type of node you want to call it. You have it built. At the moment, it doesn't have any software or information, so it'd be pretty pointless plugging this in at the moment, but it is almost there. We'll come back and follow up with a small video on how to program and how to get this unit running. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll pop the micro SD card into the side here, just to give you an idea of where it goes. Again, not too much pressure, just line it up, push it gently. And there we have it. It's in there. The whole unit set up. Again, links in description for the parts that you need. This one cost approximately 75 or 80 euros. And built within a few minutes.